Hello, I'm Tom Buchanan, and I'm the director of the Southern California Clinical and Translational Science Institute, and I'm here to welcome you to our new offering of Quality by Design. The background is that as we've examined clinical trials at USC, we found that only a little less than half of them actually complete their planned enrollment. And so we've developed an approach that's going to help you do better than that. As my own background, I've been in clinical research for more than 30 years, and I've participated with more than 3,000 patients on clinical trials, which have all completed on time. And the secret that I learned very early on was that you have to not only have things written down carefully, but really plan out the implementation of your clinical trials before you enroll your first patient. And it's a little bit like my dad taught me. He was a private pilot back in the day, and we had these little airplanes that we'd go fly around Iowa. And every time before we took off, he'd go through a formal checklist to make sure that everything was in working order on the plane. And as a result, we landed carefully or safely every time, and I'm here to talk to you today. So quality by design was initially developed by the automotive industry to infuse quality at the initial stages of production. And it's been adapted for use in clinical research and been tested, for example, by the University of California, Irvine, where it's been shown to improve trial outcomes. The SCCTSI has developed a set of tools adapted for our own institution that allow you to take a formal process and apply it to your study right at the beginning phases at the implementation. Allison Orechwa has really led that development here, and she's going to now take you through an overview of quality by design, which we're offering through the CTSI for our highest quality clinical trials. So, Allison?
Thank you, Dr. Buchanan. Hi, I'm Allison Orechwa, and I'm pleased to share with you a preview of the Quality by Design program. We at the CTSI are rolling out a support program for all CTSI awardees to help ensure your success. Taking a quality by design approach is essentially a proactive way to focus on risks you might encounter and plan accordingly. Thinking ahead of time about problems could save your study in the long run. Why did we decide to add an extra layer of support for our awardees? Because study success is not guaranteed. Many of our local trials don't reach their enrollment targets, and many study amendments, which can cost precious time or money, are actually avoidable. Quality by design helps by building quality into the study from the very beginning. Rather than waiting until the end to find low quality data or poor recruitment, you identify possible issues before you even start. In QBD, you ask, what factors are critical to the quality of my study? What are risks that might prevent me from reaching my targets there? And then you develop a plan so you're prepared should those risks come to life. We are confident in this approach because we have tested it with many studies with great results, and it's becoming widely adopted by the FDA and other universities. But before we dive in, a quick look at QBD's roots. In the 1940s, Toyota worked with American engineers and pioneered QBD principles in auto manufacturing. By examining the processes, they were able to avoid variations in the end product. Then the pharmaceutical industry adopted QBD to reduce errors in manufacturing drug products. Around 2010, the Clinical Trials Transformation Initiative applied the concepts to clinical trial quality management systems and shared their processes with us at the CTSI. We pilot tested QBD with a number of studies, including a COVID vaccine trial, a community health survey study, and a health system redesign study, and we're excited to roll it out more broadly. The primary reference document of QBD is called the Principles document. It was developed by the CTTI. Here's an excerpt of the detailed document that helps you walk through your study and identify potential problems down the road. For example, when examining your eligibility criteria, are there clear and measurable criteria to define the population? If not, your study will come to a screeching halt, or at the very least, you'll have inconsistency in who you're enrolling. There are many pages like this with over 20 factors, and your job is to choose the top 3 to 5 factors that are most critical to the quality of your study. Here are all the factors developed by CTTI for clinical trials. It became apparent to us at CTSI that most of the factors also apply to non-drug trials and non-trial studies, so we are broadening its use beyond just trials. The CTSI QBD program is a service to all CTSI awardees and scholars and other high-priority study PIs. It builds upon past work and adds more helpful elements based on what we believe to be effective. As a participant in the QBD program, you can expect the following. Once your protocol is developed, we will hold a meeting called a design studio, where we convene diverse experts to help you identify your top factors and plan for risks. Project management and team building support are also available to you throughout your study if helpful. Project management support entails things like defining milestones, tracking your progress, escalating issues if you encounter roadblocks. Team building support is especially geared toward multidisciplinary or large teams, and CTSI has trainings and consultations to assist with collaborating effectively. The design studio is the cornerstone of the QBD experience. It's essentially a proactive, cross-functional meeting with a diverse, experienced team of advisors before you start your study. You and your key research team members huddle together with these advisors over Zoom and review your protocol in detail, paying attention to the factors in the QBD principles document. Your advisors ask questions and offer suggestions. This is not about your study design, by the way. At this point, if you've been selected for funding, your study design is sound. This is more about operational design of your study. Do your endpoints need refining? Is it feasible to recruit your sample given your inclusion and exclusion criteria? Do you need input from patients or hospital administrators to make sure your procedures and timeline are realistic? Together, you identify the top 3 to 5 factors that are most critical to quality. You talk about risks, how to mitigate those risks, and develop backup plans to avoid delays or fatal issues. You document these decisions by plugging them into your protocol, and your study is ready to go. I'm going to show you 2 published case studies on trials that used QBD. In the first, the study team used the principles document to find its top 3 factors. As an example, the first factor they felt was important was procedures supporting endpoints. They wanted to ensure that enrolled patients had the opportunity to meet the primary endpoint, which was transfusion avoidance, before starting the study drug. If enrolled patients needed a transfusion even before being randomized, that would confound the results. Therefore, they added a step to check patients' hemoglobin levels just before randomization in case a transfusion was needed. Because they built in these quality checks from the get-go and focused on them, the trial was a success. In a different study with a large sample size, the study team selected recruitment and retention as 2 of their most important factors to focus on. They altered their inclusion criteria and enhanced their follow-up schedule to avoid problems and were, again, successful. We are excited to go through this process with you and also offer support throughout the study. 2 important complements to QBD that I'll touch on briefly are project management and team building. After your design studio, we will help you get set up for success with some basic project management help and team building resources if needed. As a primer on project management, almost everything can be thought of as a project, which is simply a set of activities with a start and end date and some desired outcome. The big 3 factors that you constantly need to juggle during any project are timelines, scope or scale, and money. A change in one factor can cause an opposite reaction in another. For example, if you end up spending more than expected in one area, you might have to sacrifice elsewhere. Or if your timeline is cut short, you might need to spend more money to deliver on time. The basic principles of project management certainly apply to research studies in that having the right people and processes in place will drive success, and communicating clearly about plans, responsibilities, progress, and problems throughout all phases is essential to a smooth process. And many project management tools exist to help with this. Closing out the study helps you tie up any loose ends, reflect on the outcome, and improve on the process for future studies. The QBD Design Studio helps you think through all of these phases and avoid surprises. After the studio, we will help you solidify your roadmap. I highly suggest you create a detailed roadmap by defining your study milestones. Milestones are like signposts for important achievements in a project or study. Well-defined and logical milestones are great for organization, tracking, and progress reporting. Some general examples for a typical study are IRB approval has been received, recruitment goal has been met, analyses are complete, and manuscript is submitted. The other complementary resource is team science. There is growing evidence behind the science of effective teams, and our CTSI has rich resources for you to draw upon if you anticipate needing support. For example, if your team is new or multidisciplinary, we can help you decide during or right after your studio if you'd benefit from teaming help. Here are basic principles that overlap heavily with project management principles. I'll call your attention to two new concepts that will help you avoid conflict. Set ground rules as simple as no interruptions during meetings, and accept that conflict is normal as long as you keep it respectful and constructive. Hopefully you can see how QBD can help you, your team, and your study success. Our hope is that you will continue drawing on these insights and resources for your current and future projects and help others benefit from this approach to quality management. Here are the initial QBD resources that are available to you, and we'll share more as they become available. Please reach out to me anytime or any other CTSI member with questions and ideas for improving the program. Thank you for your participation.